Hello and welcome to the Ohio Arts Council's Rife Gallery. This is the DIY Friends and Family Workshop for the exhibition On the Grid with artist Noel Maghathe. Today we're going to explore a sculptural technique as an extension of the exhibition. We'll hear first from the artist, then gather our materials and work through the project step by step. There will be dedicated pause points in the video, but please work at your own pace and use it as you need. All right, welcome Noel.
Hi, yeah, thank you so much. I'm so happy to share this workshop with you all. Yes, my name is Noel Maghathe, and right now I primarily work with beeswax as a sculptural medium. And this is some of the motifs that I used in the sculpture that I have in the exhibition. On the right, those are a part of the pieces that are in the tile place, and these are all inspired by Tatri's motifs. I consider these my own translation of those motifs. And Tatri's is Palestinian embroidery. This is an image of one of the tiles that are in the exhibition. This is, I documented it when it was burning. And so the burning also plays a role and it has a very performative aspect to it. These are also some recent works that I've been doing in my studio. There are also translations of motifs. And yeah, so we can get started with the material list. For this project, you will need beeswax. I use pellets when I'm working. It's easier to melt. And then some hemp wick. I use like previously beeswax coated hemp wick, cardboard to build your structures, hot glue, tape to kind of help reinforce your mold as you're before you hot glue, scissors, a double boiler, or some type of crock pot, um, and then some measuring container or silicone cup to easily transport the beeswax, and herbs or spices that I like to say like remind you of home. I brought in for the workshop thyme, cumin, sesame, and sumac, but you can use whatever reminds you of home. All right, so you can pause here and gather your materials, and then we'll get ready for the steps to prepare for the project. And to prepare everything, you'll need to set up your double boiler, which means, adding the beeswax in that first container and adding water in the other one. You'll want to give that some time. If you're having just about 4 ounces of beeswax for your project, it'll take maybe 30 minutes for it to fully melt. So plan accordingly. And as you wait for that wax to melt, you can cut your wicks into 3 to 4 inches for about 3 wicks, I recommend for this project. You can pause here and prepare your materials, and then we can continue from there. So our first step is to grab some cardboard, and yeah, we recommend getting some thin cardboard that's probably easier to cut and manage, and you will kind of transform and create your own shape. I kind of like to have something just pretty simple, small square, and I get that ready. And so you can um, start to think about how you want that and plan that out. And you can pause here to work on that. And here are some images of some in-process pieces. You can see the wicks on the right. Those are the 3 wicks that you'll have ready to dip. And then on the left, we have people holding their mold together with some tape before gluing it together. And so you can think about what forms you can make, maybe what remind you of home. And so as you're kind of waiting and processing your mold, your cardboard mold, you can start dipping your 3 wicks. And I recommend, yeah, dipping them around 15 times. You'll get a decent, like, small thickness. And those will be ready, and it's good to kind of allow some time for them to dry before you to solidify before you add them to the mold. So I suggest doing them before you fill your mold with wax. And now, once you have your structure ready, you will get ready to pour that wax into the mold. I always like to do a test pour, so just pouring a slight bit of wax into your mold just to make sure nothing's leaking out. And if there is, you can just easily pour it out and then add some more hot glue on there to any of those spots where it was leaking. But once you're ready, you can go ahead and add your hot wax, your 4 ounces, into your container. You might have a little bit left depending on what size you make. And so once you do that, you can wait and for the next step. And as it starts to harden, you can add in your candles. Once I like to say, give it about 5 minutes, and then once you start to see that light yellow forming on the top, you can break through that top layer and add your 3 candles in, kind of looking at them as different landscapes or forms that kind of remind you of a landscape, whether it's a tree or buildings, different things like that. And then you will allow your uh, mold to dry overnight. So you'll have to wait about 24 hours and then you'll be able to easily kind of remove that cardboard for you to have so you can kind of see it the next day as a surprise. You never really know how it'll turn out until that next day. And here is just a process image during the workshop. And for decorating, whatever spices you decided to include in your project, you can sprinkle them on the top. You can also add some in to the wax while it's still hardening, and that'll leave some throughout the block. But I like to add some on top and kind of finalize that design. And yes, yeah, waiting till your mold is completely dry to remove it and open it up the next day. And there are 2 completed um, projects from the workshop, and yeah, yours will look really cool in something similar like that. Yeah, so here are some other images from the workshop. And yeah, you can connect with me at my website, noelmaghathe.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Noel, and thank you all for joining us for this DIY Friends and Family Workshop led by Noel as a part of our programming for the On the Grid exhibition. A big thank you to Noel for the generosity of their time and talent, to our curator, Kelly Dietrich, and to the Ohio Arts Council's board, the Ohio legislature, and the governor, all who support the Ohio Arts Council, this great space, and of course, Ohio artists. Thanks, everyone, and have a great day.